love that quote from Brian. Does
Yeah.
winning create relationships, or do relationships create winning?
I think both. I think both. I think so. Say like take the Patriots for example, right?
Yeah.
They've had a lot of guys in and out, but they've
Mhm.
always had their core guys. Okay, and how do you sustain that? One, you got to have guys who carry on the culture, but when you're bringing guys in and they're walking into a winning situation, it's like, okay, because they're winning, I'm gonna do exactly what I'm told to do because they're winning.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Or you're vice versa. You're saying, okay, I've been on teams where guys aren't close, and Brian's right to where nothing feels right, nothing really flows. I've been on teams where guys aren't close, and we're still whooping everybody's butt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think every situation is different, but I do believe that relationships are crucial in any work environment, in any team. I completely agree. If you have good relationships, your chances of winning are extremely high.
I know that you've talked about teams that you've been on, even a Washington team and a Seahawks team, where you were like, we had healthy, great relationships and friendships, and I loved being there with those guys, but we didn't win.
Yeah, we're garbage.
So I know that the opposite is true, but I also think that relationships can lead to winning, and that you can. Now, this doesn't always happen. Sometimes, opposites attract, but there are often friendships that evolve from people that are like-minded, similar ages, right? And when you get a bunch of young dudes all together on rookie contracts, similar personalities, or certainly a similar work ethic and a similar goal and the same goal, like that also drives a lot of winning. Like when I think of the Patriots, it's kind of the only example I think of where I'm like, yeah, I don't know about any great friendships, although like Brady and Gronk, certainly like one of the best duos. In fact,
Right.
I think it might be pass catcher quarterback, certainly tight end quarterback, but it might be pass catcher quarterback, most tight ends in playoff history. But when I think of great relationships, I even think of like you, Kansas City, were fortunate enough to get so many of your young offensive players, Mahomes, Kelsey, in similar times. Kelsey's a bit older. They're really similar. And that's when you get those moments of two people just knowing where each other are. Or when you heard the Legion of Boom, when they would talk about, kind of what made them great. Sometimes it was like, I just know where that person is.
Right.
You've heard KJ and Bobby say that about each other. And that's what makes you a split second faster. That's what makes you, that much better at handing someone off, an opposing guy or whatever. Like, I do sometimes think the relationships do lead to winning.
Yeah, for sure. And that 11, 12, 13 group is a perfect example of that. They came up together, they grinded together. And when we talk to those dudes, the love that you feel that they have for each other is real. It ain't fake. They all rock with each other. Even if they don't agree with everything the other guy is saying, they still love each other and have each other's back. And I look at this Seahawks team now, and I think the transition that's happening is similar in some ways, right? You have a rookie class who did extremely well for themselves last year. You have some high draft picks this year who are going to be forced to contribute no matter what, right? Imagine if these two draft classes get it together and you combine it with the veteran leadership that's already there. I always think that the best recipe is to have both. I think just having a young team with no veteran leadership can work, but the chance of it working are high because you always need someone to lean on who's been there and who's done that and who can speak from experience. So I look at this team and I go, there's an opportunity here. And obviously you got to play, you got to find out, right? Is Cam Young going to work out? What's Geno going to look like this year? Is Jamal going to be healthy? But there's an opportunity to mix the youth with the veterans and be good because you did that last year with one really youth movement and made the playoffs and exceeded expectations, and you were still missing some pieces. Hopefully you've added to the team and addressed those pieces. I think you have with Dre Jones, with Cam Young, with Jay Reed, with Julian Love. It's about finding the right mix now. So when KJ talks about Jamal having to be there, that's what he's talking about, right?
Yeah.
Jamal has to be a part of that relationship building, which I completely understand. I just want him to be healthy. So there's nothing like a functional locker room, right? I had a functional locker room with the Seahawks, and we were garbage. But we still had fun with each other. We were getting our butts kicked, but nobody was pointing fingers. No one's yelling at each other. We're just looking around like, they're just better than us. It's, we don't have the guys, but I still enjoy coming to work and working with these guys. So the dynamics are crazy, man. And I guarantee there are teams out there who did not like each other who won,
Mhm.
and there are teams out there who loved each other who won and lost. So it's all timing is everything too, man. The timing and situations have to be right.
I mean, there are organizations, the Steelers, that won multiple Super Bowls, obviously not Roethlisberger's era, where head coach and quarterback didn't get along, right? My initial thing that I wanted to talk about before Brian said that, and I just thought it was very interesting, was why the Seahawks haven't been back to a Super Bowl. Do you think relationships play into that?
As to why they haven't been to the Super Bowl?
Now, I think there's a lot of reasons. When you don't get back to it, when you go to playoffs and then Super Bowl and then another Super Bowl and then don't touch a title game again, even though you have a lot of the same players, there's a lot of stuff that plays into it.
Yeah, and it's hard to do. I think people think this is where Seattle got spoiled. You go all this time. 2005 was the last time you go to the Super Bowl. You had to wait, 8 years to get there again, and then you go back to back. Once fans smell that back to back, in their minds, they think it's easy to do this. We can get back there. We can do this. And football is extremely hard. In basketball, you can do it. So because you get that back-to-back experience and then you see the same names on the back of the jerseys, you automatically think like, okay, this is something that we can do from here on out. But you know what happens? You lose players. You lose coaches. Then other teams start to perform. Guys get injured. That's why winning a Super Bowl, you have to be skilled. You gotta have good working relationships. You gotta have great leadership, but you also gotta be lucky. And that's a part of the game that you cannot control is your luck. You can prepare for every situation, but if you're not healthy, a call doesn't go your way, the ball bounces the other way, things happen. So winning a championship is one of the harder things to do in the NFL, any sport, but especially the NFL.
Well, the Seahawks are certainly looking to get back there. Like Brian said to us, I don't know that this is the year, but I do think this is a good step this year to take in that direction. Like everything about what they're doing so far, it's early in the offseason, but everything about what they're doing so far feels like a step in that direction, and that's good news. I cannot wait to get to training camp.